Hello there, Jared the Dark Jedi here. As all of you are aware, the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild are both on strike. And after some consideration, it has been determined that review content, like what is mostly predominantly makes up a lot of what we produce, is still going to be not considered crossing the picket line. It is still encouraged by the Screen Actors Guild, who established new terms additional to what was being asked to be complied with the WGA. What we do here, the conversations we love to have with a bunch of our friends, to have with you guys, is not possible. The stories we love to talk about, the stories that we love, do not get made without the blood, sweat, tears, creativity, and brilliance of the writers and actors. And currently, the studios who produce the things we love are working these writers and actors to death, not compensating them appropriately, and are trying to replace them with AI. I would think it goes without saying that the Nerd Academy podcast stands staunchly with the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild, and we'll be supporting them from here until the end of these strikes in whatever way that we can. There will be links in each episode description so that you are able to see how you can help, where you can help, how you can donate to different funds to keep food in the belly and roofs over the heads of the writers and actors who are trying to make historic change in Hollywood as we speak. This review, this discussion, this news roundup, whatever the episode may be, was recorded during these strikes, and our love for the works of these writers, of these actors, will continue to be praised and discussed while they fight for their rights. And I want to implore everybody watching and listening to aid in whatever way they can. We stand in
Hello, my
solidarity.
friends. It is Aldo.
We ask that you
And
do.
welcome back to the Knights
So,
of the
without
Nerd
further ado,
Republic.
here's
You
the
know
show.
what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things about the galaxy far, far away. I'm your host, Jared, the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and we are here to talk about Far, Far Away. I keep saying that because that's the name of the episode. This is an incredible episode. We're joined by Pink. Pink is here, guys. He's doing the acrobatics in the air. No, we're joined by M, formerly of Pink Milk, currently of the podcast that will soon be formally known as Sisters with Sabers. Kaysen and I had a wonderful conversation with her. I'm very excited for you guys to listen to it. This is really cool. Also, some stuff about Sunday's Bloody Mary in a minute here that has officially changed. So be right there in a second. But first things first, the most important thing I want to talk about. Apparently, the WGA and the AMPTP are having some conversations again, which is great. We might be nearing the end of this strike. There was that article in Variety not too long ago, or it was Variety or Vanity Fair. I can't remember which one. It was one of the ones that begin with a V, talking about how the studios have officially lost the war in the strike here. And at this point, all they're going to do is further hurt their public image. The workers who are fighting for their rights in this most historic entertainment strike are on the precipice of a gigantic W. that will reshape the way we talk about entertainment news, that will reshape the way that our entertainers and the artists who make the art and the media, I'm not going to call it fucking content, what it is, are going to get adequately rewarded here soon, we hope. So support the guilds in any way you can. Those links are in the description. I just want to reiterate that. Other than that, look forward, keep an eye on the Octo Radio podcast feed. I'm going to be guesting on an episode soon that I'm very excited for. Alden's having me on to do a dream pitch for Battlefront 3. I have gone head over heels in writing my outline, and I'm excited to get into that. And barring acts of God in Congress, we'll be either recording that this weekend or mid next week. So keep your eye out on the Octo Radio podcast feed for me to make another appearance. It's a very, very short turnaround time between my last appearance on that lovely Q&A episode. But before we get into this episode, talking about this far, far away episode of Ahsoka, we have a word from our sponsors at Sunday's Bloody Mary. We're already on the email list. What are you talking about there? Our sponsorship works differently now. So what you're going to want to do is click the link in the description of this episode, and that will take you to our affiliate link to sundaysbloodymary.com, where you will then use the code TNAP to get 10% off your order. I want to reiterate that. You're going to use the link and then use the code still. But you have to use our link, and it will be in the description, Sunday's Bloody Mary, where you can get their 3-time award-winning spicy mix, their mild and traditional mixes, which also fucking rule. You can get their pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus, and rim salt, also award-winning. It is the only Bloody Mary mix this bartender will ever use. It is the best. It's better than the Bloody Mary I make, in my opinion. And that's saying something, because I make a mean bloody. So get on over, use our link in the description.
The part of the show you've been waiting for, Future Me, is already
checkout.
talked
get
about
10% off your order.
Bloody Mary mix.
And you'll help out
use
your
the
favorite link
in the description
so
now.
yeah,
I got to hammer that home.
We got
because
links.
It's a link now. It's not just the code. It's the link, and then you use the code, which I got to hammer home now.
Two-part
'cause it's different
process.
now. It's a two. You click the link, you get your Bloody Mary mix, you hit it with the code TNAP, and then you buy your Bloody Mary mix, and then it gets to you, and you make the best fucking Bloody Mary you've ever had in your life.
Sounded like it was going into Cosby, and I was kind of here for it.
No. His days of being a fun spokesperson are long over,
Yeah, it's
unfortunately.
Fair.
Man, this is complete non sequitur. I had 2 copies of Bill Cosby himself on DVD that that was the beginning of me just having that like knee-jerk reaction of I'm never going to be able to enjoy this anymore. And like it was the same exact I've had that happen 3 times of that, like I'm just never going to enjoy this the same way ever again. And that was with again, I don't know how I had 2 DVD copies of that stand-up special, but that and Harry Potter, and then yay, I was like, I'm never going to be able to enjoy this again. God damn it. Anyway, we were joined by M, formerly of Pink Milk, now of Sisters with Sabers, which is that it's getting a rebrand, if I remember correctly.
It is getting a rebrand. We're trying to think of a new name.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the new name was out there yet, and I just didn't know. Okay, cool.
Not yet. Soon. We're working on it.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for the podcast that will be formally known as Sisters with Sabers to get a
I ruined it.
Nah, you could be honorary sister with Saber.
I'm the one who I put the mayonnaise on the sandwich.
You brought the melanin average down.
I know. I could never hope to be as fierce as all the other women on the podcast.
That's
I'm
true. You know that.
just very lucky that they tolerate me.
They are lucky to have you, and they are all already wonderful people. But we are here to talk about a batshit crazy episode, an episode of Ahsoka that is crazy in like a different direction than the other ones have been fucking crazy. This continues to be the most, in my opinion, mythic and epic in scale Star Wars we've ever had. the fun plays with mythology have just been so deeply fascinating. It is Dave leaning into certain elements of George's legacy and method, and just cranking those specific features up to 11. And I'm beyond excited to talk about it. So we're gonna get right into it. Em, what are your initial feelings coming out of this episode?
It was incredible. It was everything I wanted. I was screaming internally the entire time. The amount of like fresh air that this is blowing into Star Wars television is incredible. Like it was so needed. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, I was like, this is so boring. I was like, how on earth was a character like Sabine Wren made this boring in front of my eyeballs? Like how did that happen? And then episode 3, I was like, okay, like Giano's an asshole, we get it. And then episode 4, I was like, episode 4 and 5, yeah, just like punch to the gut. I was like, I'm all in. This is amazing. This is so fresh. Like, yeah. And then this, I mean, it just felt like taking a U-turn. Like it felt like just going in a completely different direction. And I'm so excited. And it's making me so excited about the future of this show in a way that I definitely wasn't in the beginning.
I can't say that I'm in the same boat as you with like the being bored stuff. I was like I was immediately taken um from the jump. But like it does feel so new and different in so many ways, like, and I think it is because this show has been rooted in such a in this really interesting blend of new and old, that like, and again, I love the
Absolutely.
man. I love the Mandalorian. But like, part of the allure of the Mandalorian was we're finally getting a show that is all scum and villainy, and like
Mhm.
that is a well traveled aspect of Star Wars. Is like, all of the scumfuck scoundrels, doing their thing across the galaxy. So we're like semi familiar with that. It's like, oh, now we're gonna get a show that is like mostly that, and also mostly Mandalorian culture, things that we've gotten like a slow drip of across other projects, but like so much of it felt like we're diving into something we're semi familiar with. Obi-Wan Kenobi was like designed to be this like beautiful interlude between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy that like is like you that show is based around knowing how profound the relationship with Obi-Wan and Anakin is. Book of Boba Fett, same thing as the Mando stuff. Andor is this exploration again of like something that we're familiar with. It's just that we're diving headfirst into. With Ahsoka, it is this wonderful blend of ideas we're familiar with the Force, and then like just going, okay, but fuck that also, new galaxy. um we're just gonna get as weird as we fucking can. And it is that weirdness, that Star Warsy weirdness, that Dave Filoni has made himself known for bringing to the table. And yeah, I was just blown away by this episode. Again, this is the most mythic and fairy tale Star Wars has felt, just period. Kason, how are you feeling coming out of it? Just general
Yeah,
thoughts.
pretty similar to yours. I did a full Clone Wars and full Rebels rewatch like in the month or so leading up to Ahsoka debuting. So I got like super invested in Rebels again, and like this is like on the rewatch, I was like, oh man, this is actually like really fucking good, and I am very emotional over this, more emotional than I thought I would be, but that's fine. Um, and then like I said, I got like invested into Rebels, and then like that storyline not only carries into this, but then also like what we're saying here is like it's super mythical, and I just love the weird force shit. Like Star Wars is just so cool, and it's so like interesting the way that like we're still building the world. Like what is it, 40, 50 years? Yeah, 50
Yeah,
years almost
basically
after
50.
it originally.
Basically
Yeah,
50 years old at
Yeah.
this point.
like the
Yeah.
fact that it's still going is absolutely insane, and the fact that it's like expanding this much over that time period, and like like we're just now like really expanding because it's all been in the same galaxy. So like the fact that we're just now expanding on it 50 years later, it's like, hey, just so you know, there's a whole lot of other shit we can do with this. I
Yeah,
think it's very
yeah.
cool, and it's a very cool place for Star Wars to be going, and it's a very cool direction to be going. And like I'm excited to see what all comes out of not only the rest of Ahsoka's story in this series, but also like where the rest of the galaxies, where the rest of the Star Wars universe goes after this, because there's obviously so much more out there, and there
Yeah.
has to be like obviously like the Force exists everywhere. So like there's got to be other wild types of people that can wield the Force, use the Force, they're connected to it, whatever. So
Well, absolutely. And I
pretty
think like
hype
this
about the crazy stuff.
this episode, like from the jump, basically stakes this like really fascinating claim that like that makes perfect sense in hindsight. This idea that the Dathomirian Night Sisters are not of this galaxy, that they are nomads who traveled here. So the idea just from the jump of, oh, no wonder the way you interact with the Force is so fucking different. It's not
Yeah.
rooted. It's, you know, from before the years were counted. It is rooted in a more ancient, esoteric, exotic understanding of the Force that doesn't map onto Jedi or Sith philosophy, or anything in between those two things. It is um, its own identity within the Force, and like just that decision alone of Dave going, oh yeah, this is where the Night Sisters are from. Genius.
Yeah.
So cool. Whenever they were like, you get that sweeping vista of Peridia as they're getting ready to land their little shuttle on top of that like citadel. Those statues, like the knights, like with the gaping mouths.
Yeah.
Those freak me out so much, and
It was really chilling. I wrote that in my notes specifically. I was like, that sort of these are the emblems of their culture that they've chosen to elevate, and the way they're in a triangle.
Yeah. Well, those gaping again, like the statues with the gaping mouths, like you see that iconography all over Dathomir and Clone Wars and in Fallen Order. And I remember like in both of those, and Fallen Order was when I first noticed them. I didn't realize those were in the background of shit in Clone Wars until like relatively recently. But like on Dathomir and Fallen Order, like I remember just like looking around and seeing those things and just getting very hebeed and very GB'd, and not disliking them in like a, you know, oh, this is bad kind of way. But just being just unnerved by it. And oh, we finally made it to the other galaxy, so I do need to play this clip.
Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty, its incredible detail. Tuning into it, they want to shatter your mind talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil.
I forgot to play it at the beginning, and I was like, I keep playing this clip because it's about interdimensional space travel. I was like, how can I forget?
Yes.
Anyway, anything to get an Alex clip. But no, I do just love the whole vibe and just like staying with like the Night Sister stuff. You know, it's the Greek stuff that is on the table here, correct?
Yep. That's right.
I always get confused. Sorry, I don't think about the Roman Empire very much. Which real quick, I think that whole thing's completely astroturfed. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. Big Roman history is trying to make us think that all guys think about the Roman Empire. It's big Rome. But
I haven't even heard about this, and I have not thought about the Roman Empire, and I can't even tell you how long.
See, the memes I've been liking on TikTok that I've sent like 32 of to my girlfriend have been oh, you think about the Roman Empire, I'm thinking about the Galactic Empire. And I send all of those to my girlfriend all the time, where it's just like shit about Vader and me being on my I'm just like him for real. But anyway, deeply internet bullshit aside, like the way that the Night Sisters are just so clearly, the High Mothers are so clearly named after the Fates.
Yes.
You know, like I didn't like, this is one of the time, I don't know why I didn't like actually watch the credits, because I normally do. Or at the very least, like through the music, which is also just so haunting. I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but like the credits that have like the space map on it,
Yeah.
before they just go to like the normal like black and white credits. That music is so like haunting and epic. Like,
Yes.
Secret Invasion kind of went out with a whimper, and that show is what it was. But between Secret Invasion and Ahsoka, I think that might be two of my favorite theme songs we've gotten on Disney Plus. Like they just go right to my core and just make my hair stand up every time I've heard them. We gotten them back to back. But with the face, what do you remember their names before I just look it up because I can't remember off the top of my head?
Oh, it's like Clothos, Atropos, and I can't remember the last one.
I'm gonna
Start
get
with a
their
C, but
This is
names.
why
it's like an
I-
SC.
So in Greek mythology, the fates are Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos.
right,
And
Lachesis, that's right.
and I was not this quick with it. I still have the notes from when I was on Scoundrels Inc. this week open. So the great mothers are named Atropa, Clotho, and Lachesis. So like Dave is not trying to hide it. Which is when Star Wars is at its best, quite frankly. And it's really interesting because, like it's so interesting that you take Thrawn, who famously is the commander of what ship? The Chimera.
I was
That,
just
like,
gonna say that.
so Dave just completely doubles down, right?
Yeah, for
Where it's
sure.
like, so which I think is genius. That he's like, okay, so Thrawn is just gonna be like this almost this image of like Greek dominance in a way that I think also that when you kind of take a step back and you look at the way that like the Greek and Roman empires are deified by like fascists who like it's all about like like white empires, that it becomes extra interesting that Thrawn, who is like become, in my opinion, like save for anything we see with the First Order, because Hux just gives that very Charlottesville feeling speech in The Force Awakens. But like other than that, like that Thrawn chant from the Night Troopers, they like that feels so very like cult of like the nation's hero, like this is as witchy and like creepy and magical as this feels. This also kind of feels the most like fascist the Empire has felt in a long time.
Yes.
Like in terms of just like outward like hero worship of the leader. Obviously, because Andor's doing a whole lot of heavy lifting there with like the Empire sucks for the little guy, but like the way Thrawn is being worshipped, I think it's just everything about the ambiance and the ideas here just they come together so harmoniously that I'm just, oh god, this is top shelf shit. And you looked like you were getting ready to say something.
I was just going to talk about how eldritch everything feels on this planet and in this other galaxy, and about how like the Night Troopers, it's like a zombie army. Like you look at them
So
and they're like,
your team zombie trooper.
well, I won't say definitively because I want to let the writers do whatever they're going to do. And like, I wasn't in the writer's room, so I don't know. But I mean, I'm talking more sort of when they make these design choices, like what are they trying to convey to the audience? Like what's the meta of the storytelling, right? And I find it very poignant that like these troopers they're deconstructed, like they've got like kintsugi going on, right? In their armor. And with the red fabric wrapping around them, like it's almost like like what is that binding, and it's like, is this because it echoes the robes of the great mothers, right?
Right.
The color of the fabric. And so it's kind of like, is this like some kind of a bind, like have they been bound in some way? Like it feels very, like you said, like it feels very witchy. It's a really cool fusion between the military, like the militaristic fascism of Thrawn, and the mysticism of whatever's happening in this bizarro world that we've never seen before, right? With like strange ways.
Absolutely. And I think that like, and again, it's also a cool character thing for Thrawn, because you look at the times that we see Thrawn just straight up lose in Rebels. Like the only times he is truly outmaneuvered, outplanned, outthought is by the Bendu when they're leaving. I was about to say, and I forgot the name of that planet they were hiding on at first. Adelon.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, Kason, you are ready for epic confrontations.
Learning.
You're my Padawan. So like Adelon with the Bendu, and then on Lothal when Ezra, plays the Purgle card. And I think it is really cool for Thrawn that, he had no way of knowing he was going to get transported to the home world of the Night Sisters, nor did Ezra. But I love the idea that Thrawn went, "Oh, y'all do weird Force bullshit." Well, funny you mention it. I got fucked by some weird Force bullshit twice now. That's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And
it's very in character for Thrawn too. Like it's very in character for Thrawn to take the thing that was an Achilles heel and weaponize it.
Yeah. And it's not even just the Force. It's not even that he's like conscripted, because like if he were the one who enlisted Baylan Skull and Shin Hati to his ranks, like I'd be like, oh, like he wants his own like master apprentice duo, because he saw how much of a hurting Kanan and Ezra put on him. But no, he goes, not only do I want Force bullshit on my team, I'm gonna go with the weirdest, most esoteric Force shit ever. I'm calling in the goddamn Night Sisters because I'm not doing this shit anymore.
He knows no one's ready.
Yeah,
like where he's going, nobody is ready for the Night Sisters and what they can do.
Yeah, because they've been gone since the Clone Wars.
Exactly. Yeah. And people have been lulled into complacency, because they believe that Dooku eliminated them.
Yeah. 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 And I think that there's also something to be, there's like that itself is a microcosm of like why the First Order will eventually kind of unseat the New Republic for at least a couple years there, is that, like this long dead weird threat that we haven't thought about in forever, we'll be fine. And again, it also goes a long way that you see the Empire, which this is a big theme that we talked about with the last couple episodes of The Mandalorian this season, where Moff Gideon, is this like great cultural appropriator, where his whole thing is like, I'm going to take from the culture of the Jedi, I'm going to take from the culture of the Mandalorian, I'm going to steal from the culture of war and supremacy of the Empire. And I'm going to create, for lack of a better term, a Moff Gideon master race, which was, again, this like deeply fascist thing that they're exploring, because, Andor isn't the only Star Wars that can explore fascism.
Right.
That I think it's interesting here where you see Thrawn again. He's like, oh, well, not only am I going to like bring you into the fold to do my bidding, there's also, I think, this like weird element of like, with the amount of like people and races and creeds that the Empire single-handedly annihilated, like the Jedi and the Geonosians and all the planets that were just straight up destroyed by the Empire, not just Alderaan, Burnin Khan during Operation Cinder, Vardos, etc. And Thrawn's like, hey, in my galaxy, y'all got ethnically cleansed. Do you want to come raise hell in the other galaxy? And like that whole, we're like raiding the catacombs to the point where it's going to take 3 fucking days to load the Chimera.
What do we think is coming from the catacombs? Do we think it's...
I think
it could be bodies.
I think it's bodies. I think it's that.
You think it's zombie army time?
Oh, I think it's zombie army time, 100%. I mean, we already got a taste of this in Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, this is part of the Night Sisters culture, right? Is that in death,
this
they are
horrifying
repurposed.
army of the dead.
they are repurposed to serve their people, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know where I fall quite yet on the zombie trooper thing. I think it's an interesting idea. I'm not like you said, I'm kind of in the same place of like I'm waiting to see what happens. I don't know if I want the night troopers to be like zombified quite yet, because I like how autonomous they feel already. That
Yeah.
like they like I really like the idea that like Thrawn kind of like forged a cult of personality by being the only leader in the Empire who could have feasibly kept a single Star Destroyer's crew alive for 10 years in
Well,
buttfuck nowhere.
that's the
Yeah.
other thing, is it's like, what were they eating?
Howlers.
Like, that's all I
Other
can
various
think.
creatures.
Yeah, I mean,
One
it would
would
make sense
hope.
if they're yeah, they're no, I mean, well, and again, it's just in time for spooky season, but like, you know, last year I got halfway through the book when I was a kid. But last year I finally read and completed Death Troopers, like the
Mhm,
old Legends novel about like the zombie outbreak on an Imperial prison barge.
mhm.
And like I don't there is like eldritch horror mixed with the Empire, like immediately took me back to that Death Troopers place. And that's my favorite genre of horror, is that there when there's like, oh, it's this thing, it's like whatever your setting is plus some type of like terrifying supernatural mystery, you
Mm,
know. Like for me, like it's not so much like a, oh, like there's a slasher type horror. Like it's why I love the Fear Street trilogy so fucking much. I'm so excited to showcase and his girlfriend in October. We already started making plans for like a marathon, because that's a tradition my girlfriend and I have, is that we watch all 3 Fear Street movies in one night.
nice.
I fucking love them. But there's this mystery at the core there. It's why my guilty pleasure franchise is fucking Five Nights at Freddy's. It's that
Mhm.
like it's like you have this like setting, but the meat on the bone here is this like mystery element to it that is rooted in the supernatural. And like Death Troopers like is one of my favorite things in that specific genre of horror mystery, is that at the end of the novel they give you all the answers. They just straight up are like, yeah, like the Empire was working on a chemical weapon that they fucked up, and now it's like this weird sentience. And they even give you a brief glimpse into like what it's like being zombified by Project Blackwing. You get all of the answers as to how this shit works, and it is still so deeply unsettling. And like and like removing the idea that they might be zombies, like there's still just this like eldritch factor of like, even if the Night Brothers aren't reanimated corpses, you know the Night Sisters had something to do with what's going on here, because like, these do not look like Imperial stormtroopers. Like it is so just rude. It is this like Night Sister redesign of the Empire that you know they had something to do here. Whether or not these guys are undead or not, we'll see. But it just took me back to that place of like, even if they aren't necessarily undead, I went back to how horrifying Death Troopers feels, with like the idea of, you know, just the zombified stormtrooper. Just, oh god, this show's so fucking good. Um,
I think I'm sticking in the camp of the red cloth on their armor is like bandages essentially, like where
Yeah.
they're wounded. So like maybe they're not zombified totally, but if the Night Sisters are using their magics to heal them,
Mm.
some could rub off, maybe enhance them a little
oh
bit, something
yeah,
like that.
if you're getting healed with Night Sister magic, you're not the same
Like
motherfucker you were when you
yeah,
went in. Yeah, no. And that's the thing. Is like I love how, again, these are just one of those episodes of Star Wars television. That's why I love Star Wars television, is I love like it feels like we get to experience the lead up to a movie, you know, where like, you know, it's like the slow drip of trailers and promotional images, and we're dissecting everything. But like week to week we're getting like infinitesimally more knowledge, but infinitesimally more questions at the same time, that we just replace
yeah.
we replace all of the questions we got answered with brand new batshit crazy questions. And this week has been the most like, after last week, and we got, Ahsoka going through the memory gauntlet in the World Between Worlds, and learning these lessons from Anakin from beyond. We're like, okay, cool. From here, it's going to be straightforward moving on. I think everybody, for the most part, assumed it was going to be relatively like straightforward after we got our very weird Force shit and Ahsoka had her conversation with Anakin's ghost, that it was like, all right, and now Dave has gotten the weird shit out of his system. This is going to play out in a pretty normal, straightforward manner. And then Dave laughed so hard his hat fell off, I feel like, and then went, ha ha ha, Night Sisters. It's all witches. Fuck you.
I'm so happy to see Night Sisters again. Let
Right?
me tell you. I will take all the Night Sister content I can get. I love them.
Yeah, especially
just
live
so
action.
refreshing.
Seeing them in live action is going to be like super cool. I mean, like it already has been, but like seeing it like more and like at a greater scale.
Well, like I remember in like the second episode when Morgan Elsbeth put the map to Peridia on the
Yep.
on that little the altar thingy,
Yep.
and we got like the green ichor flame.
Yes.
And I was like, oh wow. That's
I was
it.
so pleased.
That's our Night Sister exposure for the series. Maybe she'll do some like green finger magic stuff at people, and I like, oh yeah, maybe we'll get like some of that Marin-esque, cacao kapow type thing. But like, no, it's witches. It's just straight up witches in a witch
It's all
temple.
witches.
It's my favorite, one of my favorite quotes from Spider-Man Far From Home. As a man of science, it's witches.
Well, one thing that I really appreciated about this episode was the exposition about the fact that this is where this is sort of like a terminus for the Purrgil.
Yeah.
And because that was so needed, because the thing is like, I love Star Wars Explained. I love Alex and Molly, but not everybody is going to watch a Star Wars Explained video about why a whatever 1,000-year-old map is going to tell us where people who disappeared only a handful of years ago were. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the things that kept bugging me in the beginning. I'm like, what? Like I was like, they better explain this later because this is not making any sense.
I think I would have. I mean, I say this as somebody who like is all the way into the weeds here. That like they say the thing about like its Purrgil migration patterns, and like I know Jason like directly says like the whales took Thrawn away.
Yeah.
But like that very explicit like, oh, this is what we mean by migration patterns, is that like it's a Purrgil graveyard.
Yeah, like it makes sense. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like this map to Peridia exists because the Night Sisters needed it because that was their home. So, and they made a logical they jumped to the conclusion that the Purrgil must have taken Thrawn to Peridia because it's where Purrgil migrate. So therefore, the ancient Night Sister map is going to show you where they are. Like I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. But when Ahsoka was originally plundering for the map, I'm like, what does this have to do with people who disappeared like not even 10 years ago? This is like 1,000 years old.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And that is fair. I think when it comes to Star Wars stuff, that like like knowing how mystical and whimsical in terms of like the magic element of Star Wars Ahsoka was going to get into, I think I kind of just went in like accepting that there might just be some like magical fuck shit, and I was just accepting of some who's a what's it happening. But the element of the Purrgil graveyard is something I find fascinating as well, because I like the idea that, again, like the Purrgil so far have represented this force of nature that can only be controlled by people, or even like not even controlled, but like wielded by like people who are rooted in the light. And it's only people who are rooted in the light who are able to interface with the Purgle. And
but I don't know, because the Night Sisters rode them.
well, they rode them, yeah. But like but like there wasn't like a, oh hey, will you come help me?
Oh,
Like
like an
there's
exchange of, I get it. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
like the Night Sisters like domesticated the Purgle, and they're
Right.
also the same crazy bitches that domesticated Rancor.
Rancor.
So
Yeah.
like imagine my surprise, y'all found a way to calm down a much more docile
Hey, like
animal.
Marin said, they adapt.
Yeah, and I love the idea that like the Purgle up to this point have represented this like have almost represented like nature's predilection to always kind of resolve towards the light.
Yeah, and be benevolent. It's like it's the very like sort of traditional trope of like benevolent nature.
And where has Thrawn and the evil dark side magic user cult been hiding all this time? The place where the benevolent nature of the Force goes to die.
Very poetic.
Like Thrawn is surrounded by the death of the natural part of the Force. And I think that is just so poignant for who he is as a character and his relationship to the Force and the people who are able to tap into it. I also, again, I don't think that they're going to go like full Captain Hook with Thrawn and the Purgle of like, it's like, fuck that crocodile. Fuck it. Fuck that motherfucker. Kill him if you see it. But the way he's like, and if you see any space whales coming into orbit, eliminated with extreme prejudice. And I was like, you're afraid of whales now. Again, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Jonah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know if they're gonna. My name is Ishmael. I don't know if they're gonna like fully Captain Hook Thrawn or not. But I kind of love the idea.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna become like a grudge or anything.
Well, no, but I wouldn't be surprised if Thrawn on some levels like also fuck them whales. Fuck all them whales. I will get onto the Chimera and scan out into space just to be like at the rings of Peridia. That's just Purgle skeletons. Which like, oh man, when they pan to the Eye of Sion, like coming into orbit right after Balin brings up that it is a Purgle graveyard.
Yep.
He just casually says it, and then you're like looking at all the fucking skeletons and shit. Again, chill down my spine. Down my spine.
Yeah, the imagery, the sort of horror imagery of this episode was so great. And can we talk about Thrawn's theme? It was incredible. It was everything we needed. I mean, like, Kevin Kiner stepped up to the plate. Like, he knew how important this moment was going to be for everybody who was watching the show.
Yeah.
And he did it justice. Like when I was watching it, I was just like, I just kept thinking, like, this is horrifying. Like, I am scared.
Yeah.
You know? Oh my gosh. Like, the score for that scene was just impeccable.
The score was incredible. The staging, the blocking, the cinematography.
Yeah.
Like, and that shot of Thrawn coming down the catwalk with Enoch in tow.
Mm-hmm.
With like that it was almost like the Vertigo zoom. Like, it wasn't quite that, but as they're like zooming in as he's coming in and kind of panning out as he's getting closer still, whenever with that line of dialogue, what was once a distant dream has become a frightening reality for those that would oppose us. Like,
that's like the best intro line out of anybody ever.
Fucking bars. Like,
yeah.
I love that Dave knew on a microbiological level, how do I get the layman to understand who Grand Admiral Thrawn Yorodo is in one line of dialogue? And he gave Thrawn all the gravitas that he should have, and then ended that introduction with Thrawn spitting fucking bars. I wasn't able to get it made in time. I don't know if you've heard of Dracula Flow or not. I like Thrawn hit like sincerely fucking that line of dialogue with Thrawn, like, was what you distant dream. That sounds like some Dracula Flow shit.
I found actually one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact that Thrawn is so perfectly written.
Yeah.
Like his dialogue, it's like poetry in that it's the maximum amount of effect with the smallest amount of words.
Yeah.
And it's just the amount of care and artistry that's gone into his portrayal. Like, I'm so here for it. I really feel like it was very apt. And I really, really appreciate, like, especially in a franchise where dialogue has not always been a strong point. I
Oh, what
feel
are you
like in
talking
this
about?
I feel like in this case, like it's just so effective. And yeah, like even when he was like, tell me about the thread, it was such a perfect display of power
Yeah.
because like this is how someone who is completely convinced of their own power handles the unexpected. Like so calm and just like because the thing is like when somebody's insecure in their power and they're confronted with an unexpected thing, their first instinct is to like push it away.
Yeah.
And Thrawn is like inviting it in because he knows that that's how you win. Like that's how you keep your power. It was just so like he's just so powerful and he's I'm so scared of what he's gonna do,
I
but it's
know.
good.
I
I like
know.
that.
Well, that's
You
the thing
know?
is that like listen. There's still a lot to talk about, so I don't want to completely dovetail into like speculation and like what's going to happen next and stuff like that quite yet. But like, man, they're setting Thrawn up to just Thrawn all over the New Republic when he gets
Yeah.
out.
He's gonna be like
Like,
all Thrawn all the time.
yeah, well, he's gonna come out of hyperspace in orbit of Cetos, where the New Republic fleet is waiting for Ahsoka to come back, and
Ruh-roh.
assuming they're still there, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's the fucking Chimera." They were right, but let's beat to shit. Like this whole thing, the whole fucking ship's falling apart, and it's one cruiser. It's one Type 1 Star Destroyer. Seriously, that's it. There's like 3 cruisers right here. Fuck this guy. Blow him to hell. Let's call it a day. And they're gonna get their muffin cap peeled black blue. Like they're like because that's who he is. He knows he's gonna come out of hyperspace and be like, "Oh, good. I get to get warmed up on you fuckers." Like it's like that's what I cannot wait for. Is like he's already had this like deeply eerie, ominous, like you can tell he is just this force of nature. And like just from interacting with him, I cannot wait for this show to show people why you should be fucking afraid of Grand Admiral Thrawn and why
Yeah.
he is a menace. And
Yep.
conversely, what I'm excited for is the way that the show has made Ahsoka perfectly geared to take him out of the picture now. And I think everybody thinks that Thrawn's going to be the big bad of the Dave Filoni movie. Like that's kind of written in the stars.
Written
But
in the Star Wars.
But so I don't think Thrawn's necessarily going to die at the end of this season necessarily. But I love the idea that Thrawn has that moment where he's like, "Oh, so this Jedi all of you so confidently told me was taken off the board is not actually dead. Well, I got to get ready to fuck with her now. I want to know everything. I want to have a full deck so I can fuck with her." And I think he's going to go into this thinking he's going to have this trump card of, I know who your master was.
Yep.
You're the apprentice of Darth Vader, and I think he is going to try to spit the same game that Baylan Skoll was. And what Thrawn doesn't realize, what he could never have anticipated, is that Ahsoka went into the nether realm of the Force to have Anakin look at her and say, hey, what I did is not your responsibility. And
Yep.
if you can remember me as more than Darth Vader, then Snips, you are more than the failed apprentice of Darth Vader.
Yep.
That she's going into this with those weaknesses not applying anymore.
Yeah, exactly. She's going to be like, sorry, motherfucker, I went to therapy and I'm over it now.
I got ghost therapy.
Exactly.
Bitch. What's
the
good?
best kind of therapy.
I talked to my dead big brother and now I'm ready to kick your ass.
Yeah.
My dad finally came back with the milk and cigarettes and he told me he loves me, so you're fucked.
Exactly. That's right. Well, the other thing I really liked about the storytelling in this episode was that it was so tight and so like clean, especially how Thrawn, like the events of what happens with
the Empire is blocking us.
I'm having a cable snafu. Hang on.
No, you're good.
Snafu.
Hang on, I'm fixing it.
That's good.
Okay. Oh no, wait, it's not fixed. Hang on. Oh, and now I'm frozen on this like ridiculous. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sorry about that. Yes. So the thing that I loved about the storytelling here is that the way that Thrawn is kind of like a foil to Sabine.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that so story-wise, she thinks she's using the Force, but it's really just the approach of the Chimera that's shaking herself.
Yeah.
But also, so this is like sort of one little sort of, joke at Sabine's expense. The other thing, well, there's actually two other things that happen. There's the, it smells of Jedi, where it's like, really? Sabine does? Because, and Baylan even has like side eye. It's almost like he's worried that they're talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
You see that they purposefully cut to that expression on his face, right? And so it's kind of like, okay, so like, what is it? Are they smelling Sabine's potential? Are they smelling Ahsoka on Sabine? Or is it really Baylan? But they're singling Sabine out because she's the one whose loyalty is is she has no loyalty to them, whereas they Baylan and Hati are obviously allies of Morgan Elsbeth, so they're going to trust them first, right? And then the third thing I wanted to talk about is when Thrawn talks about Sabine's singular focus on Ezra, because this is pressing on the pain point of the idea that to be a Jedi or to be an adept Force user as it is understood in Sabine's galaxy is to not have attachments. Like, this is the exact thing that, this is what Ahsoka's been harping on about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this kind of sacrifice, like what Sabine does by doing this sort of temporary alliance with Baylan and Hati, is the exact type of thing that the Jedi Code is supposed to prevent and is supposed to stamp out. So it sort of emphasizes a separation that exists in Sabine's mind. Like, she hasn't bought into the Jedi Code. She wasn't ready to sacrifice finding Ezra for what Ahsoka told her was the greater good. Ahsoka gave her that whole monologue and tried really hard to hammer into her head that she might be put in a position where she would have to make this great personal sacrifice. And Sabine said, "Fuck that." Like that moment in episode 4 was like, for me, the redemption of this series. Like, it's fine, like, for other people to like love it, and like that's fine. It's just I wasn't personally into it. But the minute Sabine dropped that map into Balin's hand, I was like, I'm in, I'm here for it. Like, this is what I wanted, because like a Star Wars where the protagonist doesn't always do the right thing, like, that's my favorite Star Wars.
Doing good, bad things.
Yeah.
Well, I think in many ways, also in that episode, Sabine or Ahsoka has that wonderful line about Sabine where, Hu Yang's basically like, she's kind of a shit Jedi. And Ahsoka's like, I don't need her to be a Jedi. I need her to be herself.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that, like, I talked a bit about this on Scoundrels Inc. I talked about this on the live stream, is that, you look at this, the choice that Sabine made, and it was guarantee Thrawn's Grand Admiral Thrawn does not return at the cost of guaranteeing Ezra can never come back either, or risk Thrawn's return for a chance at maybe being able to save Ezra. Like, and I think that's something that, like, kind of was like maybe undersold earlier in the show, is that Thrawn is a guarantee. Ezra is a maybe. Like, we don't know if he's still alive. We do know that someone is communicating with Thrawn. So if we know Thrawn is out there, we don't know if Ezra is alive. And I don't think a lot of us took into consideration the fact that it wasn't just Thrawn and Ezra out there, that it was a fully populated fucking Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
That, like, we just kind of didn't mention that was part of the equation here for the longest time.
Yeah.
The fully populated Star Destroyer is like, what, 40,000?
I don't remember the exact number. I know that, like, people throw like the 50,000 number around because of, like, the one that Chopper blows up.
Yeah, I was about to say Chopper's kill count. Yeah, that's how I remember.
Everybody jokes about that one. Here, let me look up Star Destroyer occupant number. That's for a first order one, which was bigger. One class, 37,000. This is a fully staffed Imperial one class. So, give or take, that's maybe not as, it wasn't necessarily fully occupied. I think that, we'll see, but, like, still, like, I think we all just kind of thought of the Chimera because there was, like, we think about Ezra's approach on the bridge, like, he shoots a couple people on his way in,
well,
like
and Thrawn says that their numbers have dwindled.
Yeah. So you look at what Sabine's choice was, and in many ways it's her kind of, like you said, like, going against the code, but, like, it's also a conversation about what the code actually means. Like, we talk about this a lot with, like, like, defining, going back to, like, George's definition of attachment, that, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi loved Sabine Kree, or Satine Kree. That'd be weird. Loved Satine with, like, more than life itself.
Yep.
But, like, when he lost her, he was able to mourn her, for lack of a better word, responsibly. Yes. Reverse the roles. Let's say we watch Darth Maul. Did I say what you were gonna say?
I was gonna say, but he also couldn't be with her.
Well, you're right. Yeah, he could
because,
be
like,
with her,
he had like, I mean, Obi-Wan, it was like the platonic Jedi. I mean, he was like the ideal Jedi because he represented, like, this really steadfast, loyal commitment to the Jedi Order.
Yeah, and you're right. But, like, kind of what getting at, it's like you juxtapose that with Anakin. You trade positions there. Let's say Anakin Skywalker watches Darth Maul plunge the Darksaber into Padme Amidala's heart. there's not going to be a body for Maul. There's not, like, you're not recovering a body of Darth Maul. You're
No.
not. There's going to be
Dude,
nothing left.
the whole palace is coming down.
The whole palace is coming down. And it's because Anakin would not be able to see through the fucking rage. Because for him, and it's not that he would be lashing out. Yeah, obviously he loves Padme, but the way that he loves her is that he's angry that Maul took her away from him, not at the loss of life. And that's the thing, is that he was attached to her, and that is kind of the incarnation of that selfish love that Lucas was getting at, where, like, there are many connections that the Jedi forge. So I love the idea that, you can talk about attachment and connection and the differences therein all day long. I love the idea that if you, again, pull back out a little bit more now that we know, let's say everything goes according to plan on Cetos. They not only do Ahsoka and Sabine take the map away from Balin and company and Morgan Elsbeth and Shin. Let's say they defeat them. Let's say Team Thrawn is captured or killed. Morgan, Shin, Balin, captured or killed. They're taken off the board. And the New Republic is able to acquire the Eye of Sion, and they're able to put Home One inside of that hyperspace ring, and make the jump. Or fuck it, let's still take a fucking Purgle. Let's take a Purgle to thing. Let's say they do destroy the map, but they figure out how to get there, and they take a Purgle. Ahsoka still puts that together and goes, "Oh, maybe we can get back this way and figure something out when we get there." Ahsoka would show up to Peridia with Thrawn, his army of Night Brothers, and 3 Night Sister High Priestesses ready to throw the fuck down with no backup. They'd go in looking for Ezra, and there's only going to be one spaceship coming through that sky, and it's either there to save or kill Thrawn as far as he's concerned. So, had Sabine not done what she had done, either Ezra doesn't come back at all, or maybe they go to find him on their own terms, and then they have to fight Thrawn on Peridia by themselves with one Jedi shuttle, maybe. And even if they do show up with Home One, like, it's Thrawn, like ship to ship, plus magic, plus whatever the fuck is going on with the Night Brothers, plus Balin, plus Shin, plus Morgan Elsbeth. They're outgunned. And Thrawn, tactically, I think, can make up for the fact that he's one rinky-dink Star Destroyer up against one New Republic capital ship. Like, had things panned out the way they wanted them to, it could have resulted in a massive loss of life for the Republic. And one that had, again, had Thrawn had his druthers, he's like, "Oh, cool, we're going to just hijack the Eye of Sion now, right? Because they brought it to us."
Right.
Like, Sabine, in a very Star Warsy way, she may have made what in the moment felt like a selfish decision, but in a very fated will of the Force way, like, this is the safest way. If Thrawn's going to come back, this is the only way he does it without, like, necessarily killing everybody who could possibly stop him on his way out.
Yeah.
I feel like Pepe Sylvia moment right now, just fucking cardboard and strings. Speaking of Sabine, her part of the episode was also lovely. It was fun. I love the cute little howler moments.
Yes.
And this is what I love about Star Wars, and what I love about this episode is that we have been talking for almost an hour now about the horror, the terrifying real world history, about the menace of a villain that Thrawn is, and about just how dark a lot of the elements of this episode have been. How there's an alternate timeline of this show where, they show up with their pants around their ankles, not realizing Thrawn is ready to throw the fuck down. And then Sabine tames a puppy and goes talk to a bunch of little turtle guys.
Crabs. Crabs.
Little crab men.
They have their hands are little pinchers.
Good looking out. I didn't notice that.
We
So
also
she
have
so
great
Also,
costume.
their eyes are on stalks as
that's
well.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
So she meets so Sabine tames a puppy, does a crab rave,
Mhm.
and finds her best friend.
Yeah.
All in the same episode. All in the same. This is what I love about Star Wars. Like that those two things that tonally should not be able to coexist with how hopeful and whimsical the rest of the episode was juxtaposed to the and we have and we're going to circle back to like the Balin stuff and we're obviously going to talk about the beginning of the episode, but like just kind of taking a detour here while we're talking about Sabine. I love Star Wars. Only Star Wars could do that. Only Star Wars could do that. And I
It was
think
so
there's something really fun. I said this on our call in. I said this on Scoundrels Inc. You know, Thrawn to me is like almost this poster child for like the demystification of Star Wars that a lot of Legends authors tried to do. You know, like there's a lot of Legends that introduces a lot of like Star Trekky stuff that feels like it is there to spite the fantastical part of Star Wars
Mhm.
that is
Yep.
meant to feel like a fairy tale. And a lot of that is embodied in this cold calculating tactician who's like, oh, I study art and culture and you know, I don't do magic bullshit like Vader or the Emperor. That like you put him in a context where now he's deeply rooted in the mysticism, and then to further kind of reclaim Thrawn from the Empire were the good guys because they built the Death Star to deal with the Yuzong Vong kind of stuff, to fully
Mhm.
reclaim him from that. We also juxtapose him with all this Jim Henson bullshit too.
Oh my god. It was
Flawless.
I
Fucking
loved it.
flawless.
It was so Willow. It was
It
so
was.
Willow.
It was aggressively Willow.
This Jim Henson.
It was great.
bullshit. I love it.
He's
I
right,
loved
isn't
it.
it? Absolutely. And it was just so perfect. And Iman Isfani, perfect Ezra. Like, no notes.
Oh my god. That man is
That was
so
just Ezra.
beautiful.
Oh, he's
So
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Yeah.
He's
Like
gorgeous.
I
and I was
can't
like,
even deal. How much do I love that they took that fucking grown up Millhouse looking motherfucker and turned him into that? 15 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah, I saw whenever you see
Would
like him in
bang.
the background.
oh, yeah.
Whenever you see him in the background, like over
Smash.
Sabine's shoulder, I noticed that he had the long hair and he had the beard, and I've kept seeing that thumbnail of like older Ezra in the Rebel Between Worlds, but it's like the Rebels artwork, and I was like, dude, they better do that when they bring him back because that looks really cool, looks really good. He looks
Yeah.
just like his dad, and I'm here for it. And then I saw him blurred in the background, and I saw that he had the long hair and the beard, and I was like, yeah. I got so hyped. I'm so excited. I love it.
Dude, it was just perfect. Like, and I feel bad that like the happy part of the episode is gonna get mildly glossed over in this discussion. Like, not
Yeah.
fully. It's just like it was just perfect. It felt like it was the full circle of, hey guys, congratulations, Rebels is now in live action because
Yep.
Natasha and Iman just fully brought these characters to life.
Yep.
And
Yes.
just flawlessly, no problem at all. No notes.
It was, yeah, and it felt so natural. Like it
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it was like this real release of tension. And I feel like there was so much production design that went into that too. Like the fact that it's like, it's in sort of this pastoral setting. And even the fact that when we see the village of the Noti, like, they make a point of showing them doing like domestic things, and you see like a mom and a baby, and it's like the message is like, this is not an army, this is a civilization.
Yeah.
You know, like we're entering like the
Yes.
home of a people, And so it gives this sort of overall feeling of like relief and serenity and peacefulness. And then it's like there's natural light, there's a body of water in the background, like it's
Which, of
just
course, this is where Ezra ended up.
exactly it was just perfect. And it was also great because in a way, like being surrounded by these creatures that we presume don't speak basic, it kind of gave Ezra and Sabine this weird privacy, even though they're out in the open. It's like this is an intimate moment just for them. Just everything about that was just perfectly orchestrated. And I was texting with Mark and I was like, Mark, I need to find someone to ship Ezra with because he's beautiful. And I need to write a dirty story about him.
I know. M's like, he's too hot. He's too hot for me not to put in like a wildly not safe for work context.
Yeah. I
Fair.
need to write an erotic story about that man.
M Cooks.
I have not delved into the work, but I can give it a shot.
M Cooks.
All right. I haven't really. I haven't delved into like actual Star Wars literature. I haven't delved into like fan fiction or anything at all.
See, I was gonna start naming things, and I was like, can't do that on YouTube. M Cooks. Click on the links in the description, and she cooks.
18 and over.
Yes,
only,
yes, of course,
please.
of course.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. Part of me was like, that goes without saying, but should be said.
My stories are for grown-ups and about grown-ups.
Yes. Most importantly, those two parts. But no, so that part's wonderful, and I just, if we can, we didn't get to do it last week because we didn't have any Balin last week. So to do our weekly, goddamn, I love Balin skull section.
Yes.
It continues to be my favorite character in this show. Like Balin, I'm not gonna hold you guys. Balin's already a top 10 character for me. Like
he's just so good.
Yes, I love him.
I hang on every word. I hang on every single word he says.
One of the things that I loved about this episode too is that it gave us so much insight into his and Shin's motivations, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like Shin wants power. Like that's what she's here for. And Balin has a different relationship to power than she does. Like, she has this very sort of youthful, like wanting to wield it kind of energy.
Yeah.
Whereas he wants to acquire it and use it to shape the world around him.
Yeah, he very clearly goes into this quest for power with an end game. Whereas Shin kind of has that, very the Dark Knight, I'm a dog chasing a car, I don't know what I'd do if I actually caught it type thing going on.
Yep. And I love that they're using this trope in Balin's story of like this trope that we've seen in Mass Effect and of Final Fantasy X. Like if you're familiar with those stories, you know what I'm talking about. The idea of this world, like you see this world and you have a unique perspective on it where you see the cyclical nature of it. And you have this urge to break the cycle. That is such a compelling story that's been used in other properties. And I feel like this is like the seed of what could be like a really meaty story for Balin.
I agree. And I was talking about this as well before, that Balin feels like he is cut from a similar cloth as like a Darth Treya. Where that like what was Treya's whole thing was like, oh, the Force and the pursuit to understand and dominate it have caused nothing but death, destruction, and carnage the galaxy over. So I'm going to destroy the Force because clearly we cannot be trusted with it. Mm-hmm. Now, as deeply fascinating as Treya's philosophy is, and this like almost like weird form of like neo force nihilism at play, she's wrong. Like, she is wrong that what she's doing is abhorrent. You cannot destroy the force. It is part of us all.
Yep.
That I love that, like, again, like, Balin has this weirdly big picture, and I'm so excited to see where he's wrong, because he's been spitting facts for too long, where it's like, you have part of this fucked up. There's no way you don't. There's no way that you do not have part of this fucked up, and it is going to be fucked up in the coolest goddamn way is the best part. That like he's like, he just repeats again and again and again and again, and like, you look at who Balin's aligning himself with. Like, do you think the part of the cycle that's the problem is the Jedi part or the Empire part? Or do you think
I feel like he thinks it's the whole thing?
And that's where I think he'd be wrong, is that, like, well, maybe we have to stop all of these empires from rising up and genociding these Jedi orders into oblivion. That I'm so excited to see finally what he is looking for. That he at once has this this reverence for the order, but this deep disdain for it as well.
Well, yeah, because he sees that it didn't solve the problem. I mean, like, we always, like, your commentary about Treyas was so apt, because talking about the force and what the force is and what it does, and like how, because the thing is, the existence of the force presents a fundamental problem to the galaxy of people who have varying degrees of attunement with it, which is like, what do you do when you have a small group of people who are way, 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 way more powerful than literally everybody else? The Jedi solution to that is to take those people and bind them with a moral code that dictates that they are not to abuse that power, right?
Yeah.
But, through the stories of Star Wars, we see all of the problems and complications that arise from that. And so I feel like Balin kind of understands, like, his recognition of the cyclical nature is it. I feel like he can see that the problem is basically who has the power, or how is power allocated. So I feel like his solution is going to go to the root of that. I mean, who knows? Maybe he wants to pull a Buffy and give everybody the power. We shall see.
God damn. I just want to float this out there. I think this would be cool. And again, Ray Stevenson, just such a deep tragedy that this guy, that we lost this incredible artist, but moreover that this incredible artist does not get to hear just how beloved he has become within, relatively small amount of screen. Yeah, it took 6 weeks and maybe a full hour of television for people to be like, oh, this is one of the best Star Wars characters of all time.
Yeah.
If Balin as the character survives this show, however, I if they recast him, whatever, I do hope Balin sticks around as a character and they find an actor who can at the very least fill Ray Stevenson's shoes. I want so badly for Balin to fill the new role of Rook in the end of Thrawn's story, because Rook's gone now. But like, if Balin is that person who is we've had just about enough of this shit, and puts him down, like, obviously it would be heartbreaking because it doesn't get to be Rey. But like, I have, from the moment Thrawn and Balin interacted, had this vision in my mind of that, like, but it was so artistically done. But instead of like the blood seeping through Thrawn's jacket, like, it is just like a fucking lightsaber wound through that brilliant white coat. And I'm just I can see the vision. I can see like this moment in my mind of Balin being the one to execute Grand Admiral Thrawn. That I just like has been haunting me. I know some people are saying Enoch, who, like, Enoch might be the one to do it. And let me just be the first to say, Enoch, cool as fuck. Just fucking cool.
Truly so
that is
cool.
my boy. In more ways than one, because Jared is the father of Enoch. As a shout out to old member of the podcast, Mike Doling, who pointed that out to me.
Still miss that guy.
Dude, Mike and I we had a conversation on the phone last week after last week's episode. We just talked about the episode while I was waiting for my girlfriend to pick me up from work. And other than that, every week after Ahsoka, because he and I are like the only like Latrobe people who watch at night of, I guess. So he and I will just have a brief text exchange, and it's normally literally like one line of text of us just being like, this thing, wow, holy shit. Like it is like that is the full exchange of us just being fully mind melted, and that being the only thing we can talk about. But and I'll tell this story one last time, I promise. Long story short, it was after a like Marvel trivia event we all went to. We're sitting in the dining area of a Sheetz, getting some grub afterwards, and Mike, who is a theology major, under his breath, just kind of starts going, "Jared is the father of Enoch." This was years ago. He says, "Jared is the father of Enoch." Jared is the father. Mike, what are you talking about? Jared is the father of Enoch. What? Jared is the father of Enoch. And he just has this moment like, Mike, what the fuck are you talking about? And after like 10 minutes of him just like, fucking with us, he's like, oh yeah, I just remember like in some of like the Apocrypha, like, Enoch Jared is his father. And we're like, that's it? You made it sound like you were having some terrifying vision of the future because you realize that I have a semi-biblical name. That's it. So last night, after he finished the episode, in the group chat I'm in with like Travis and Levi and Lexi, Mike sends. Let me get to my messages here. It was so on cue, and I was so happy. I said last night, but whenever the episode came out, he just sends, "It was known. It was known. By God, it was known." Like these are all individual. He's just sending these messages subsequently after each other, and I just say, "Holy shit!" And he ats me in the chat and goes, "You know what I'm talking about." And I said, I didn't catch his name for a minute, and then I turned the subtitles on and gasped. To which Michael replied, "It was known." I just listen. If y'all newer listeners, newer viewers, you guys are coming post Mike Doling being a big part of this podcast, go back and listen to the earlier episodes. This man brought the most unhinged professor energy to this show that I will just never be able to replicate. Like having Mike on a podcast is a fucking powder keg because you will get some really fun, insightful shit. And he also will just talk like he's coked out of his fucking mind. Like my all-time favorite story is he was talking to a monk at St. Vincent College, and they were just having a conversation, and out of nowhere, this monk looks at him and goes, "You ride the eyes of the dragon, and then you tell me who you are." And Mike was just like, this was the most profound thing I've ever heard. I said, "Mike, I don't know what the fuck you just said to me. You're just saying words. All of this doesn't make any sense." The man is galaxy brained to a fault, and I love him like a brother for it. But Jared is the father of Enoch. And it was known. Speaking of things that were known, the history of the galaxy, and we can end where the episode began. I'm gonna be honest about something. The first time I watched the episode, my eyes rolled all the way back into my head.
What, when Hu Yang said it?
Yeah. Which is weird for me. You'd think I'd love that on first pass.
I watched it and I was like, oh, Jared saw it for sure.
Jared is crying right now.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a 9:03 and Jared's crying. All right.
I thought I was too. I was like, but it was the way. Here's what I think took me out of the moment. I think the history of the galaxy, parts 1, 2, and 3, and then Ahsoka with the part 1 obviously being the best one line. That joke I think was way too meta for me.
Okay.
That the poetic nature of the a long time ago bit just it washed over me. I was just fully like out of the moment from that joke. Watching it a second time, knowing it was coming and being able to like fully engage in the moment and not in that weird like because like when you watch this stuff for the first time, you are like, at least for me, like I'm fully experiencing it. Like the season 3 and finale of The Mandalorian, I did not like it the first time I watched it. I didn't like it. I felt just kind of empty at the end of it. I watched it a second time because again, this is back when it was coming out at 3 in the goddamn morning. So I'm watching it the next day with Taylor, and from Grogu using the Force to protect them from the flames on, could not stop crying,
Yeah.
weeping, fucking weeping. And I'd seen the episode already. None of this was new to me, but like now I was letting the emotionality of the episode like really sink in with me. So I was fucked up for the finale of Mando season 3 the second time I watched it. And the second time I watched this, I still kind of at the fucking but part 1's the best because I don't know that the meta joke didn't land for me there. However, once Hu Yang hit the a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I did get goosebumps and I got it. It really resonated with me the second time, and I loved it. But I had to. I cannot lie and say that the first time I heard that line, I was as emotionally affected by it as I think I thought I would have been. Like if I had a conversation with myself from the past and I was like, "Hey, you remember David Tennant's character from the Clone Wars? He's going to say the blue text in an episode of a live action TV show about Ahsoka that is like super spiritual and about like legacy and destiny and like how we carry on the master apprentice legacy." And then Hu Yang's going to say like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And from that description, I would have started crying. And again, me, the Star Wars crier, Kason Breon, unfortunately was there the night we saw Return of the Jedi in the theater and just had to look at me from Vader dying and on of me just crying like I had lost a loved one for 15 minutes straight. Uncontrollably. It is a shame no one got that on camera. Sincerely, like we talk about it a lot. We talk about it a lot that I like lose my shit watching Return to the Jedi. We're underselling it. I want you to know we are not doing how catafucking-tonic I was justice.
Okay, listen. When the next 3 movies come out, I'll be there, and I'll film your reactions,
dude.
And then the next time that we do an anniversary release, we'll go, and I'll be there to make sure that I get it.
Dude, listen, if the Phantom Menace comes back to the theaters anytime soon,
God, I hope it does.
I really hope it does. I need a redo. I need a redo with that movie in the theater.
For my own dignity's sake, I need to find a not heavily populated screening because there are parts of that movie that I'm not going to be able to like be a civilized human being during.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to turn into the Joe Rogan meme during the Duel of the Fates. Like I'm just gonna be like throwing fucking popcorn and like just throwing my icy across the room out of just sheer adrenaline. And then when Qui-Gon gets stabbed, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Anyway,
yeah.
Yes,
I know. I did think the moment was really beautiful, and I love how contemplative Ahsoka is about the decision Sabine made. That she's not admonishing her; she's just like, this situation could have just gone from bad to worse in a really unfortunate way, and I don't know what to make of that. I really like again. Some people were saying like it feels like Ahsoka's character development was undone, and like I think that's silly.
No.
Then again, like she's just contemplating. Like I don't know what to expect when we come out of hyperspace, and it was a fantastic scene. It was a fantastic scene, and I'm glad I watched this episode twice because I don't think my take of this shit made my eyes roll would have aged well.
Definitely not.
I loved it. Like I felt like Tennant's delivery was exactly perfect.
It
I
was
felt like it really like it hit like the perfect note.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree completely.
Like imagine being a youngling at the temple and like you're on a trip in this same exact Jedi shuttle with Hu Yang, like when you're a kid going to Ilum to get your kyber crystal, and like they're like, oh yeah, Hu Yang, tell us a story. Like, that's just so cool that like Ahsoka's like kind of reliving that. I think that's another thing
Yeah.
that is cool, like with the last episode too. Is like with Ahsoka going through and like not only like facing like her own demons, but also like facing down like her whole childhood basically, and like being a child soldier, like the whole thing with
Yeah.
the Jedi and with Anakin, and then like the next time we see her after that whole ordeal is done is she's hanging out with Hu Yang, obviously in the Jedi shuttle because that's her ship now. But like she's like reminiscing on that rather than like fighting the past.
Yeah. What do we think about what are we supposed to take about the interpretations of Sabine's motives from the conversation between Hu Yang and Ahsoka?
I don't know. Like I said, I
Yeah.
think that's something that I love about the conversation is that like I don't think Ahsoka is admonishing her,
No, I
but
don't think
like,
so either.
but there's no way to pretend that she's happy with her either.
Mm,
You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Ahsoka. Again, I think Ahsoka might end up with kind of like the hindsight perspective of, oh, had it not happened like this, had we been the ones to come to Peridia to try to find Ezra, we had no idea we were walking into like a military base.
right.
Right.
We had no way of knowing that this was basically a fucking fortress that we were going to have to fly past, that then the Chimera would be like, oh, hello, you know, and like
Yeah.
rain hell on them. So maybe Ahsoka will come to realize that, you know,
So
maybe she'll be like, hey, you know, you're my student and I'm glad you're okay, but what the fuck was that, man? Like, I'm glad everybody's okay. You could have gotten killed. Like, fuck not following my orders or whatever. Like, you have no idea that they would have kept their word. And it looks like they're not going to.
So if you read the Wikipedia summary for this episode, the implication is that, you know, Ahsoka is like she holds forth about her vision that she had from the pieces of the map. And the person who wrote the summary says that Hu Yang kind of implies that maybe Sabine saw her own Force vision that led her to make the choice to share the map. But I think that's a bit of editorializing. I don't think that's strictly true. Like I don't
Yeah,
like
no.
that's not what I took from that conversation. Like I took from the conversation that maybe Hu Yang is sympathetic to Sabine's
Yeah.
point of view and her yearning to be
Yeah.
with Ezra again.
Like,
and
very
to
like,
see-
how could you expect her to have not made that choice?
Yeah, well, he says the Force gives insight, which doesn't necessarily mean that she had a Force vision, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, like if it's the will of the Force that they go back and find Ezra and not blow the whole fucking thing, not blow the whole plan to smithereens, then like that could be what he meant, because obviously, like, you know, the Force works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, I think that's more what it was. I think it was more just like, you know, it's possible that this was decided by forces that are not entirely conscious.
Yeah, like the Force wasn't like, "Hey, Sabine, this is what's gonna happen if you do this." It was just like, "You're gonna do this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind trick.
Or at the very least, like it was like at the very least, maybe this is like Sabine's like intuition through the Force.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that like as silly as what I'm about to say sounds, like there's a good chance this was solely vibes based.
Mhm.
You know, that like
Yeah.
something through the
Yep.
force was like, I need to let you win here. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
Oh man. I love Star Wars.
Me too.
Do
Same.
you have any final thoughts here before we bring this home?
I'm just looking at my notes. Oh yeah, actually one of the things that I wrote at the very end of my notes was I love how, we've had all these discussions and like for me especially, like, this episode has brought up so much rumination about, like, what are people trying to say about the Jedi code, and what is the story trying to tell us about, like, is this good or bad or what? And I love that, we have Shin saying sometimes a story is just a story.
Yeah.
And
Balin's like,
we get that little reminder of, like, yeah, like, it's fun to, like, analyze and pick everything apart and, like, see, like, and have this idea that in a story, the choices that lead to good things are good, and the choices that led to bad things were bad choices. But,
Yeah.
like, sometimes the story is just a story, and it's not trying to tell you anything about life or about what to do or about what means what,
See, I think that's interesting because for me personally, my interpretation is that like this is the story setting Shin up to be wrong.
Mm,
Like Shin is looking at Jedi folklore come to life.
yeah,
You know, like
yeah,
like for Balin, he's standing in fucking Narnia. You
yeah.
know, like
yeah.
that Balin's having this moment of what the fuck do you mean it's just a story?
This is her
This
being
is the story.
this is her being the Scully skeptic. Like, this
Yeah.
is her being skeptical in the face of, like, extraordinary evidence.
Yeah, I think that maybe like her like, oh, sometimes a story is just a story. And
Yeah.
I think the other meaning of that could also just be like, sometimes legends are just legends.
Mm,
Like this is aspirational. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are meant to live up to this, which is a theme Ahsoka's had to grapple with. Like,
yeah.
the legend of Anakin Skywalker, the infamy, the heroism, all of that. Like you can't just put that in a box. You it all exists in multitudes of nuance that you can't just manhandle into a pretty box, you know? Oh, fuck, I love Star Wars. Where can the lovely people find you and what you do?
So you can find me on Twitter at Hutsleia, HUTTSLEIA. Adults only, please. Minors DNI.
No younglings.
Yeah, no younglings. Just wait till you turn 18 and then you can
Yeah,
clickety
and
click.
then you can read about the Knights of Ren running a train on Rey.
Well, that wasn't me
Yeah, I know. It didn't start with you. It didn't start with you. It trickled. It's
a long and complicated history.
As a wise man once said, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Truly. Yes, and you can also catch me on the what is currently known as the Sisters with Sabers podcast. Please follow their Twitter account at Sabers with. It's a wonderful podcast, and yeah, you should go and listen to all of them, even the ones that I'm not in, especially the ones that I'm not in.
I can't recommend it enough. Also, R.I.P. Pink Milk. Still goaded.
Always in our hearts.
Always goaded. Kaysen, where?
Here at Cray Breezy on Twitter and Instagram. I also manage a deathcore band called Belvebeth. It's hard to spell.
You guys can find me on Twitter
It's in
and
my
Instagram
profiles
at
though, so just go find it
2552.
there.
And you can find the
yeah,
Nerd Academy
and you can find me
podcast
here
on Facebook, Twitter,
talking about Star
Instagram,
Wars stuff
YouTube,
because Star Wars
wherever
is
you
neat
get
as all hell.
podcasts. And on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com.
Here is a place that I am. It's like that REM song.
Where you can get your hands on some. With that, I'm going to go ahead and click that Future Me link to bring this on home. So, Future Jared, Take it away. And where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon.
Hey, give me a dollar.
Stepping on my line delivery. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Keandre
Trouble in
Lloyd.
Paradise.
I
Trouble in Paradise.
I have such a hard time. I try to do it.
Feel yourself, Colin. Feel yourself.
This is me stealing myself.
To our dear Paco, aka Elix Jones.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
And to our dear friend Ray Clausen, who asked that you donate to Equality Texas and help keep queer kids safe in the Lone Star State. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, next week, hopefully we'll see how schedules pan out and what's going on. My aim is to record Porter Angle versus Count Dooku next week and get that on the Patreon as soon as possible. Like I said, schedules have been chaotic. Next weekend, I'm going on a little trip with my family. So the week is kind of revolving around that and getting certain things done before then. But like I said, Patreon stuff is going to get caught up here real soon as we are working away at that. I was on Scoundrels Inc. with Frank Janish, so go check out that episode. I mentioned it a few times within the episode proper. I don't think I said it in the intro, but go check that episode out as well. I had a wonderful conversation with Frank. Good old Frankie numbers. And yeah, like I said, the Octo Radio episode that'll be coming out here, that we'll be recording here shortly. That'll hopefully be out soon as well. So, and one more thing, guys, we are so close to the channel being monetized. Now, I said that if y'all get us to 500 subscribers before October, I would have some spooky season Cookie Cop merch for you guys. We're almost there. We need about 60 subscribers. Get us there. We've already hit the 3,000 watch time hours for the year. So we will be monetized officially if you guys are able to get us to that 500 subscriber threshold. I would be incredibly grateful for that. And my goal is to have this studio set up before Spider-Man comes out so that I can stream Spider-Man 2 and we can start doing Let's Plays and stuff like that. And the channel, the phase of monetization we would get would be super chats. So if you guys felt so inclined to donate here or there during the stream, that would be incredibly appreciated and also go a long way to helping up the ante with things we want to produce. Once we have a studio, I plan on making video essays that will get a first viewing on Patreon. Spencer and I have a series idea that we're only really going to be able to pull off. We're only really going to be able to pull off, but one that we want to give to our patrons first. So if you're able to subscribe at the $5 tier, which is where our Patreon exclusive content will exist, please, I would greatly appreciate that, as well as a subscription to the channel itself. But yeah, with that, we are honored that you have joined us, and may the force be with you always.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Excuse me.